What it do, cuts this? It's your boy the hater up in this mug, you know what I'm saying? And by popular request, we're doing 25 reasons why Bianca Belair sucks. Someone also requested that I do 25 reasons why Del Rio rules. And then the comment under that was like, nobody can come up with 25 reasons. But I actually like Del Rio, so I'm going to do that eventually as well. But for now, we got to talk about Bianca Belair. You know, this video needed to be made right after the Rhea Ripley video because in my opinion, Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley have the same problems. And we're going to go over them in a list of 25 as we do, point by point. Reason number 1, her dumbass ponytail, all right? Bianca Belair has regular sized hair, yet I don't even know how they do it. They tie like the fake ponytail to her hair, and then like we're supposed to believe that this is like her real hair. I don't even know if we're supposed to believe that, or if that's just stupid. Like, I'm not sure, you know? I can't wait for the day that someone pulls her from it and it just rips off her hair. That would be hilarious, because Michael Cole would have to be like, they pulled it so hard and ripped off her hair. It would be so stupid, because Michael Cole would not be able to explain that it's fake hair, because I'm pretty sure that in kayfabe, it's presented as her real hair. Otherwise, she's just wearing a rope on her head, which is weird and, quite frankly, a foreign object, right? The implications are that it's her real hair, so if she uses it in a match, that's understandable. That thing I do like. The fact that she uses it as a weapon, I think that's very, very clever. But, you know, that's basically it. She's just a ponytail girl, you know? Which brings us to reason 2. She has no gimmick, you know? The closest thing she's got is she's got a ponytail gimmick. Kind of like Matt Damon in that movie where he's like in the Great Wall of China and fighting aliens or something. You know what I mean? That kind of shit, right? She has no gimmick, and that's unacceptable. Reason number 3, her dancing entrance sucks and does not substitute for a gimmick. A lot of times, people think that the way that someone acts in any capacity is indicative of their gimmick, right? Or if they change one thing, then, you know, they have a new gimmick, right? So like when Sasha Banks took off one wig to reveal the same wig in a different color, people are like, oh my God, what a great gimmick change. She just reinvented herself, you know? People use this dumbass like term all the time. They reinvented themselves. Kind of like Jericho. You know, Jericho has had some real, you know, reinventions, like his 2009 run, and arguably like his, you know, Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla, you know, going from the Lionheart Chris Jericho to that. But that's it. You know, him wearing face paint and saying I'm the Painmaker or calling himself the Ocho is not a reinvention. It's just him saying a different word. You know, there's a difference. And Bianca doesn't do any of that, so that sucks, right? Reason number 4, because she has no gimmick, there is no reason to like her. Why would I like her? You know, someone needs to explain to me why I should care for Bianca Belair and why I should like her. They've never done this. More on that a little bit later. Reason number 5, she has never had any motivation to do anything that she's done other than she wants to win. So if I were to ask you, what is the difference in terms of character, you know, between Bianca Belair and, I don't know, Penta or Ludwig Kaiser, right? What is the difference between her and Pac? Remember Pac? What is the difference? Now, some of you may be thinking, wait a second, hater, you're talking about a girl and comparing it to a guy. You know, I'm talking about meaningful character differences. I know that Bianca Belair is a black woman and Ludwig Kaiser is a white man. I know that he's taller than her. I know that, like, you know, they're both in good shape. But what I'm saying is, what is the character difference? Ludwig Kaiser, you can maybe make an argument that he's this, like, you know, superiority complex type guy, but that's not really very overt. What is the difference between her and Gunther, let's say? You know, Gunther just goes there and his only motivation is to win. Her only motivation is to win. Now, that's interesting in some scenarios if the other characters around you are booked in a different way. That was John Cena's character effectively as well. I only want to win. C-Nation, you know? But John Cena was surrounded by characters and well thought out concepts where his heroics were then like used to justify his booking of being just a guy that wants to win by basically his gimmick kind of shifting into the guy that doesn't let bad guys win, right? Bianca Belair doesn't do any of that. She doesn't interact with anybody beyond her matches, you know? Like, she does in a very minimal fashion, but the point stands, right? You've never heard Bianca Belair say, this person like did this to me, so I want to kick their ass. Her argument is always like, I want to be a champion or I want to stay a champion, you know? And that's just poor writing. You know, there is no difference whatsoever between Bianca Belair and anybody that has the same problem, the same character problem. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if you took like Apollo Crews and compared him to Bianca Belair, the only difference is that Apollo's a man and that he's a jobber. But in terms of character, we don't know anything about either of them. You know, we don't know anything about Andrade. What's his motivation? He just wants to win. And that's not compelling. That's boring. You know, that's absurd. If I wanted to just see that, I'd just watch real sports where there actually is a winner. They're not taking advantage of the fact that wrestling is fake, like I said in yesterday's video, to give Bianca Belair some personality. Which brings us to reason number 6, cuckolds. Bianca Belair has never been the catalyst of anything that she's done. Bianca Belair is just the other person. You know, the only exception that you could think of is when she won the first world title. You know, where it's like, oh, it's going to be her first world title. But after that, you know, there is nothing about her that stands out, right? Now, I will admit, this reason itself it's not a cop-out, but you could say the same thing about Charlotte, Rhea Ripley, a lot of people. You know, the problem is not specific to Bianca Belair's. At least this one is not. Now, reason number 7. She has never been in a storyline. This is unacceptable. While the rest of the people that I've mentioned have been one way or another in a storyline, Bianca Belair has never been in a storyline. She's never been a heel either, so that really limits her. But she's never been in a storyline. You know, all she's done is be in number 1 contenders matches, and then she just wins championships, and that's it. Then she defends it until she loses. Then she starts again. You know, she's never been in a storyline, period. At the very least, Rhea Ripley was in a love triangle with Dominic and Liv Morgan. No such thing has happened with Bianca Belair that I can think of. And if there is one that I'm forgetting, then there's very few of them. Reason number 8, which goes along with all the other 7 reasons. We know nothing about Bianca Belair. We don't know anything about her. We just know that once in a while, this girl called Bianca Belair just appears and wrestles. We don't know anything about her. You know? Like, none of her character is presented in any capacity. She has the same personality as a hometown jobber. You know when the hometown jobber comes out and like, I don't know, Rhino or Baron Corbin or someone like that squashes them in 2 minutes? Bianca Belair is that hometown jobber in terms of her personality, right? Except that she wins. So there you have it. Reason number 9. Her theme song makes no sense. I actually like her theme song because I find it to be a catchy tune with decent lyrics. But the lyrics go something like, I'm on my own, against the world, something, 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 I never needed you at all. Who the fuck is she talking about? Who did she never need at all? You know, these things make no sense. She's like, I'm on my own. Even when she's a tag team partner, she's on her own, you know? So I don't like that. The theme song is good, but, you know, they probably thought they were going to have some sort of personality for Bianca Belair, and they just kind of stopped there, I guess. Reason number 10. She always botches her handspring moonsault. You know, it's supposed to be a moonsault, and then in the end, every single time, she gets insecure and turns it into just another back handspring and falls on the person. You know, a lot of people don't catch this, but this is my personal favorite reason. Reason number 11. She's boring, motherfucks. She's so boring. I don't think I've ever been entertained by Bianca Belair in any capacity. You know what I mean? Reason number 12. She cannot cut a promo to save her life. It's unacceptable. You know, the promo, like, dearth that we've had in WWE for a long time is something that is like a priority 1 situation. We need to solve this immediately. Anyways, reason number 13. Like Rhea Ripley, she is pushed for no reason. All right? Reason number 14. She was carried by Montez in her reality TV show. To be fair, it was their reality TV show, but Montez was so much more entertaining than she was, which goes back to the point that I made earlier about her not being entertaining and being boring. Whereas Montez is actually entertaining, you know? In my opinion, he's more entertaining in that TV show than he is when he's one of the Street Profits, because that's just stupid, but whatever, you know? Give him a chance. Take a chance away from her, you know, if you must, right? Reason number 15. Her NXT run was uneventful. I don't remember anything about it. You know what I'm saying? Reason number 17. She let Naomi call her a bitch. Now, Naomi said this, but it was really stupid. But that's more of a Naomi issue. But the point still stands, right? like Naomi being like, I did it for you, Bianca. Like, what? Why? Bianca Belair has never said anything to indicate any emotion or in any capacity. So why would you think that Bianca Belair wants you to do this? At least The Rock was someone that was consistently being held down when Rikishi did it for The Rock, right? The Rock, like Stone Cold, was a thorn in The Rock's side. Stone Cold was someone that would always get the upper hand on The Rock, right? That was kind of like the whole relationship. Like, The Rock, for better or worse, like I was always a Rock guy, but Stone Cold was the number one. When they were booked, Stone Cold was the number one. He was the real main eventer, and The Rock was like a secondary main eventer. They were very close. The dynamic wasn't the same as like Cena and Randy Orton. Like Cena's like 100 times, better than Randy Orton in terms of presentation, right? Like Randy Orton, he gets Cena's leftovers. Like Cena's main evented like 1,000 pay-per-views, and Randy Orton hasn't, But like they were close, the Rock and Stone Cold, but Stone Cold was the number one. So the Rikishi thing made sense, but the Naomi thing didn't, and that's partially Bianca Belair's fault because she doesn't do anything to indicate what her desires are so that her tag team partner can do what she wants, I guess. Reason number, did I miss one? Or was that 16? All right, so we'll just call this 17. The last one, I may have said 17, but I meant 16. Reason number 16, she didn't even care about Jade. She just went on about her life, and every 3 weeks, they'd view like one 10-second clip of footage, and she just went on dancing and carrying on, right? Now, this is not the fault of Bianca Belair, the person. This is the fault of booking. It doesn't make any sense. Bianca Belair should be very interested in finding out who attacked her partner because presumably they're friends, they're partners, and 3, like Bianca Belair, the entire issue with Bianca Belair is that like if they attack her partner, they might attack her next. Now, hopefully this turns into like once Jade Cargill beats Naomi at the pre-show or whatever, right? Then maybe it can be like Jade Cargill goes out to Bianca Belair being like, you didn't care about me. And that would indicate the first storyline ever that Bianca Belair has been in. But until then, we're not going to hold our breath. Reason number 18, she was too dumb to realize that it was Naomi in the first place. This can also be attributed to the lack of storylines she's been in, right? Because the character of Bianca Belair is presented as a complete moron who's just there to wrestle, and she has no awareness of what's going on around her. Her one friend attacked her other friend, she had no idea. The hater figured it out immediately, especially once Bayley moved to SmackDown, you know what I mean? Reason number 19, she held Jade back with that dumbass tag team. I didn't enjoy tag team at all. I thought that it was a way to hold Jade Cargill back, which I find unacceptable. Reason number 20, the tag team had no gimmick. This is a personal pet peeve of mine. I believe that every tag team should have a gimmick. And the reason why I believe this is rather straightforward. Because a tag team can have a gimmick, it should have a gimmick, right? The beauty of tag teams is that the gimmick can revolve around 2 people, right? You have so many more opportunities. So for example, you can go with a classic gimmick like, oh, these guys are like, I don't know, 2 brothers, like Edge and Christian, 2 brothers that, are goofs, right? Fine, that's a basic gimmick. You can go with like, the APA, right? 2 guys who are serious ass kickers. Then you can go for like the quirky tag team, like as an example, Kozlov and Santino Marella, right? Where the 2 characters are opposites, but because they're put together, they now form a different gimmick. You see what I'm saying? None of that happens anymore, and it sure as shit didn't happen with this tag team, so there you have it. Reason 21, her matches are lame. First of all, she wins almost all of them, but even if she didn't, it's like they're not entertaining because she's involved. You understand what I'm saying? Reason 22, she got justifiably booed on Raw, or was it SmackDown? I think it was Raw. On Raw, which means she sucks. Reason number 23, she has contributed nothing thus far to her WrestleMania storyline. Nothing. The bigger focus here is whether or not Rhea Ripley deserves a rematch. Rhea Ripley, the person who's not in the match, has more of a focus put on her. Like the storyline, nobody gives a shit about Bianca Belair or Io Sky in this context. The storyline is, will Rhea Ripley get in the match or not? And the how is completely irrelevant, but that's part of it too. Reason number 24, her backstage statements / interviews / vignettes. Every fucking week, it's her and Naomi or her and Jade Cargill, and she's just out there just taking up time. They say nothing. All they say is like, today we're going to wrestle this person, or we're going to go after that person. They don't really do anything, you know what I mean? And that brings me to the final reason, Reason number 25. Her attitude, motherfucks. Her attitude. Like, now, when I say her attitude, this goes towards the way that she's presented. I'm sure that Bianca Belair is a lovely young lady in real life. But in the WWE, anytime she's allowed to show a little bit of personality, and this is as far as it goes, she has this snarky thing going for her, you know? Where someone like says something to her, and she just like looks them up and down like the person said the dumbest thing in the world, you know? And this is especially true when people say completely valid things. Like when Io Sky comes and she's like, I want to fight you, Bianca, right? Because that's how she speaks. Bianca Belair just looks at her like, psh, you know, and she does like a psh, you know, like almost like a Will Smith thing, you know, like from Fresh Prince. The difference, of course, being that Will Smith is like one of the coolest and most charismatic people of all time. Not anymore, motherfucks. I hate him now that he slapped Chris Rock, but before that, he was cool. So if he did it, it was like, oh, Will Smith's cool, you know? With Bianca Belair, she just does it. It just comes off forced and lame, and it makes her look like a bitch. So there you have it, cucks. With that being said, these have been 25 reasons why Bianca Belair sucks ass. And take that to the bank. I just realized right now that it's Friday. So I'm going to watch SmackDown, that's for sure. But I don't know if I'll review it today or tomorrow. We'll have to see, cucks. With that being said, take care of yourselves. And go fuck your mother. Hater has spoken, cuckolds.